what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
You're going to get whiplash. You keep doing that.
Welcome to the Fantasy Formula, the fastest growing podcast in all of Western North Carolina. It's good to be here on this Wednesday afternoon, mid-November, my friend. How you feeling, Ad Rock?
Oh, freaking lovely. Lovely.
Yes, sir. A little chill in the air. My yard's covered with leaves right now.
As Keith Jackson would say, the leaves are turning and two gridiron greats are getting to take the field. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a very good impression of Keith Jackson, and that actually leads me to my next point. The leaves are turning, and this is when, in fantasy football, when the cream rises to the top. Playoff runs are getting ready to be established now, Addison. And with that being said, why do you think we came into the Fantasy Formula today with AC/DC's Highway to Hell? Why do you think we came in there, buddy, with that song?
Because that's the type of music you like. You like the headbanger boogie.
I do.
And
besides that,
maybe,
what's the other reason?
Chad, I don't know. Chad, enlighten me. Why is that, Chad?
Because, Addison, I just saw your team. And in order for you to make the playoffs, what it looks like to me right now, you're on the highway to hell, your fantasy team. You got to win. After a really good start, your team's kind of a little decimated right now, coming off a tough loss.
I am in the Eli Haters Club right now. Eli Manning's put up a total of 18 points total in 3 weeks.
Good gracious. And
that is absolutely single-handed sank my team. It cost me 2 wins.
That's tough.
But you got to you start Eli. Do you sit Eli Manning? No, you do not. The upside to him, you don't sit him. You do not sit.
Listen to this. If I were to ask you, would you trade Eli Manning for Andrew Luck right now, straight up?
Ooh.
Think about that 4 weeks ago.
Wow. No, I would not even laugh at it.
Would laugh about that. But now, realistically, Andrew Luck might be a better fantasy football quarterback than Eli Manning.
I think you may be right. That's really hard to believe.
I think I'd make that.
Do you have Andrew Luck?
I don't have it, but if I did, I think I might make that trade. But anyway. Moving forward, Ad Rock. So last week, tough week for Ad Rock's team, the Little G Monsters or whatever. They go down.
The G-Man All-Stars. Let's get it right.
Go down with an L. Return of the Chad Eye. My teams went a tough 1-2. All I needed from Ben Roethlisberger in my Raleigh League is a handful of points. He goes out with a strained shoulder.
Ooh.
And so I lose by a handful in that league.
And we'll get to that here in a little bit with some quarterback injuries.
Absolutely.
Wow. All over the map.
Still in first place in my 2 Hickory leagues, so we're right there.
Well, you're in the weakest. You're in what? You're 6-4.
I'm knocking on playoffs down.
All right. So what's your record?
Hi.
What's your record? You're 6-4.
6-4.
You're 6-4 first. I'm 6-4, and I'm in 4th place in my division. So it shows you're like in the AFC of the NFL. The weak. You're like the AFC West,
buddy. I'm going to make the playoffs in year 9. That's all that really matters. You got to get in. And once you
Why do you cut deep? Why do you go straight for the jugular?
What can happen? Because that's just how life
Look, you think your leg hurts now. Let me get a hold of it.
And with that intro, let's roll right into the Fantasy 45, the fastest 45 seconds in fantasy football. Ad Rock, we're going to take you to the Thursday night game. This game, not many playoff implications here in reality football, but in fantasy football, a ton. Buffalo's offense is starting really to click, playing a Miami defense who's starting to crumble a little bit. Ad Rock, Buffalo hosting Miami. What you think?
Dude, I'm still liking the fish in this game. Even though Buffalo's been coming strong the last couple of weeks, they've had some good. They've had to put up some good fronts against Houston and the Patriots. 2 tough weeks, but I think the fish are going to get about together. I like what's going on down there. The offense can be kind of, in some instances, can be prolific with the points they put up. I'm going to like Miami in this game.
Check this out. Fitzpatrick last week for the Bills, 337 and 2 touchdowns, threw to Stevie Johnson, 6 receptions for 86, and Fred Action Jackson on the ground, 16 for 80 and 2 touchdowns. Also, Spiller starting to get a lot of run now. He caught the ball, I think, 6 times out of the backfield, and he rushed for over 70 yards too. The Miami defense last week, dude, got destroyed. Got beat by the Titans 37-3. Tannehill, I put my jerseys that I would typically wear to our podcast, Addison, right back in the closet. 23 for 39, 217 and a couple picks. Reggie Bush, just 4 carries for 21 yards. The offense is kind of going backwards here for the Dolphins. I'm going to go against you here. Right now,
Shocker.
Vegas has got the line set as Buffalo -1, over under 45. The Dolphins have won 6 of the last 8 against the Bills, but I'm going for the Bills side this week. Let's go Bills, -1.5. And
See, right there, real quick. That's why I should be in Vegas. Because, I'm picking with the Vegas. I mean, the -1, I got it.
Buffalo is favored by -1.
It doesn't matter. It's 1 point.
Dude, if you went to Vegas, you last about 8 minutes, guaranteed. Let's go Buffalo and over the total. A lot of fantasy points for the Buffalo running back Spiller. Also, keep your eyes on Fred Jackson, out with a concussion. Got to see if he wants to play next week. All right, Ad Rock, moving on. We're going to our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. The Philadelphia Eagles coming to town to host those RG3-led Skins. Last week for the Eagles, oh, man, that was a tough day for Michael Vick and all the Philadelphia Eagles fans. Vick goes out with a concussion, might not play the rest of the year. Huge news out of Philly. They lose 38-23 to the Cowboys last week. Nick Foles in replacement of Vick, 219 and a touchdown. McCoy on the ground, 16 for 82. And Jeremy Maclin finally getting a little run in Philly. 8 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Last week, the Skins off a bye. Here we go, Ad Rock. Does Philly win again without Vick?
No. That's it. Just no. Andy, I think all the coaching rumblings, Vick being out, there's just a lot of unless, Peter Pan and Tinkerbell come sprinkle some fairy dust on some people, it's over in Fantasyland for them. It's done.
I'm with you, brother. Fantasyland, maybe the only thing only player in Philly you might want to start. I could say, obviously, you got to start LaShawn McCoy, and I would lean a little bit to Maclin. It looks like that Nick Foles, the new quarterback replacing Vick, likes to look for Maclin. But besides that, brother, I think Philadelphia's thrown in the towel. Right now, Vegas has got the number set at Washington. It opened up as a pick 'em. Now, Washington is a 3.5-point favorite with the over-under 44. I like RG3 all day long to run rampant against this Philadelphia D. They got nothing to play for.
Dude, they hired their new defensive coordinator, and I was looking at some stats today. Their defense is horrendous right now. That coordinator could be one of the first midseason firings of the year. And Andy Reid, I don't think, is far behind him.
Yeah, Andy Reid. It's time. The bell is ringing for Andy Reid, and it's over.
He'll be an offensive coordinator in some other market somewhere.
No, he'll be phenomenal. He'll get snatched up quickly, but this year it's done for Philly. Let's go Washington minus the 3.5, but I'm going to lean under the 44. I don't see many points coming out of this game for both teams. Next up, buddy, great NFC matchup. We've got the Green Bay Packers traveling to Detroit. Last week for the Detroit Lions, everybody picked them last week against the Vikings. I think even you and I had the Lions against the Vikings, but the Vikings hold strong. They beat those Lions 34-24. Stafford through the air, continuing his nice comeback pace here in midseason fantasy world. 329 and 3 touchdowns. Mikael LaShore, 13 carries for 43 yards, not much on the ground. And Calvin Johnson continues to do it. 12 for 207 and a touchdown. Last week, Green Bay was off the bye. Addison, Vegas got it set right now. Check this out. Green Bay is a road favorite, 3.5-point favorite, over under 51. Does Detroit hold home court advantage against the Packers?
I'm going to say they will, man. You look at the stats on this game. I mean, Detroit's putting up over 400 yards of offense a game. Wow. Where Green Bay's coming in at like 350. They've got more passing yards, same amount of rushing. And Detroit's defense, Green Bay's and Detroit's defense, I don't see much different this year with Green Bay's defense and Detroit's defense. I'm going to lean more toward the Lions in this matchup, especially being at home in the Dome.
I like that. Packers have won 12 of the last 13 against the Lions, but I'm kind of on your wavelength here. Detroit, back. I know you always say I'm a back against the wall kind of dude, but Detroit is definitely got their back against the wall if they're going to make a playoff run. They're playing at home against their huge rivals. Huge rivals. They're catching a field goal. I think they're going to rally the troops here. I say Detroit outright win. Let's call it the upset of the week, Addison. Detroit with the the outright upset win against the Packers, plus the 3.5, and this game will fly over the total. Both defenses reeling. Stafford playing well, and of course Aaron Rodgers is going to get his. So let's go Detroit plus 3.5 over the 51. Tons of fantasy points. Next up, we're going to Atlanta, where the Atlanta Falcons, coming off their first loss of the season, host the Arizona Cardinal. Last week for the Falcons, again, as I mentioned.
Oh, hold up real quick. I want to give a shout-out to my boy Jay Caldwell, who picks up Beanie Wells off the waiver wire. Gives me probably the most static, besides you, about Beanie Wells. And then he's not even playing, and he has so much confidence. He picks him off of the waiver wire, and he's not even the starter.
You know what that tells you, Ad Rock, is first of all, Jay Caldwell listens to the Fantasy Formula every week because we talked about Beanie Wells last week. So obviously he's listening to what we say. And secondly, I don't even really know if there's a second to it. I just know that he listens to the Fantasy Formula every week for our advice. And maybe that's why he's doing so well in our league. And doesn't he have? I mean, he's put up 200 points or some godly amount.
His team is definitely peaking at the right time.
Yeah. So Fantasy Fanatics, hey, Jay Caldwell, let's get him a shirt. Fantasy Fanatic. What do you think, Ad Rock?
Let's do it.
Bing bang.
No, I take that back. Let's not.
Atlanta playing host to Arizona last week. As we mentioned, Atlanta gets their first loss of the season against the Saints. Matt Ryan, 411 yards, 3 touchdowns. Still, my fantasy MVP for the year. The dude has been incredible. Jaquez Rogers, 3 for 29. No Michael Turner really cited in this
Jaquez, I love the name. Of course, we have to get this is family friendly, so I won't come up with this new name. No, Michael Turner, freaking bum.
Yeah, your first round.
Shut up! I know, God, it's horrible.
And a receiving leader for the Falcons, the old man, continues to do it. 11 for Tony Gonzalez for 122 and 2 touchdowns. Can Atlanta start another winning streak against this Arizona Cardinal?
Oh yeah, most definitely at home. Again, Atlanta's just they're going to be angry off this loss. I think they really want the undefeated season. And again, Matty Ice is just looking 20 touchdowns already.
Wow.
He's looking good. I'm like Atlanta huge in this game.
Right now, my friend.
Chad, come here. Let's keep this professional. Can you please take the phone off vibrate? People.
It's off. I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, it's so hard.
It was Jay Caldwell trying to call into the
It's really hard.
Hang on. Jay, we'll get right back to you, buddy. We're on the air right now, okay?
It's so hard trying to keep professionalism around the studio. I mean, our sound guy over here, he's over there looking at crazy stuff on the internet, and Chad's over at the phone on vibrate on the table. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the non-professional. I'm sorry.
Addison, back to the Fantasy 45. Thanks very much. You know, the last 74% of the action in Vegas right now is on the Falcons minus the 10. Atlanta always plays good at home. Matt Ryan plays the best at home, but I've got a weird feeling. Think about this game. Atlanta, after this Arizona game, their next 3 games are divisional right. Teams that they got to match up against the division, and then they play the Giants. I think this might be a little bit of a look ahead for the Falcons. They're going to get the win, but I say Arizona keeps it closer than the experts.
What's the line?
predict.
What is it?
It's 10. So I say Arizona plus the 10. That's a bunch of points. Arizona plus the 10. Their defense is okay. And I'm going to lean even under the total of 44 right now. I think Atlanta gets the win, but they falter a little bit with their big schedule ahead of them.
I'll give you that one.
So let's go Arizona plus the 10 and under the 44.
Wait. You're going under the 44?
I'm going under the 44. I think Arizona's defense will keep it close.
All right. How many parlays you won this year?
I don't do parlays. I'm against gambling. All right, next game.
Good job, Jennifer. Good job. You got them correct.
Tampa Bay travels to the Queen City where the Carolina Panthers will play host. Carolina last week, Ad Rock. You know, after everybody got excited after that win, what happened? Peyton Manning comes to town.
Lays the friggin' smackdown.
Good gosh.
Dude, they suck. Yeah. Can I say, am I allowed to say that on there? They suck hairy stuff.
Oh,
I mean, they are horrible. People you can't hate your Panthers. Like, here again, my philosophy, you can't drop a team down a city and say, oh, you got to pull for them. No, you don't. No. Right. Carolina Panthers, I will say this, at least they're running the ball. They're listening to the fantasy formula. They're hearing my pleas. They got $85 million invested in the backfield. Run the freaking ball.
Yeah. I'm with you, buddy. And they started. They were up 7-0 in the first quarter. I was like, we're on to something now. And then a couple turnovers here. Newton
trying to run.
Regressed so
he is trying to run around, take the load, hand the ball off, get a fullback back there, put Jay Stu behind the fullback, run some smash mouth football.
Yeah. related to this game fantasy-wise, guys, really keep your eyes open for this Greg Olsen, this tight end. Cam is kind of, Steve Smith last year was his go-to guy. It looks like when he's pressured, he's throwing to Olsen a lot. 9 receptions, 14 targets for $102 and 2 touchdowns. So you guys, if Olsen is out there on your
He's
waiver
mean
wire-
looking. He looks like he's from like the Aryan Nation or something.
Who, Greg Olsen?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know where he's
He
from.
looks like the poster boy for blonde hair, blue eyes. He's one of those guys. Big.
I wish he'd go there and whip your ass. Cam Newton, 21 for 36, 241 and 2 touchdowns. And on the ground, even though they gave a little bit more run, Jon Stewart only got 8 carries for 31. So anyway, Panthers, you got some work to do on the ground. They are playing host to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. The Buccaneers offense is clicking. Josh Freeman, 14 for 22, 10 and 2 touchdowns. Dougie Martin, the muscle hamster, 19 for 68, and Mike Williams, 2 for 64. What really was impressive, I was impressed by this Tampa Bay's team, was their defense. 2 touchdowns. I think they blocked a punt. Really, really nice showing against the Chargers last week. Ad-Rock, Vegas got it set right now. Carolina is a point favorite against these Tampa Bay Bucks, over under 48. Can Carolina get on a winning streak again?
They better, because I think in the next year or so, Carolina's moving to L.A.
Did you read that?
Yeah, you know what? And I think about it. Los Angeles, Charlotte, North Carolina. Sorry, I mean, you got a losing team, and L.A. does not have a franchise. Everything else, every other franchise, you know what? They better get together.
But Jerry Richardson would never leave the Carolinas. There is no
Are you
way.
kidding me?
He's too loyal.
Lord of what?
He's loyal to this area.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's about money.
All right,
he's got $1 billion invested in
Six-pack
it.
bet. If they leave, you owe me a 6-pack. If they stay, we'll say over 2 years too. They'd have to, not this year, but over 2
Yeah,
years.
they're going to LA.
So that's like a sip of beer a day.
Look,
over betting.
we're not building a new stadium. All right, you got a new stadium. They're not going to rebuild a new stadium. They're not going to do that.
Okay.
There are too many options, because they're getting a baseball stadium, and you know what? The football team's getting put on the back burner because they suck.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you. I think the Carolina Panthers will remain here in Charlotte. They do need to
Pack it up, pack it in.
Their team, but anyway, so we got a bet, 6-pack, boom, boom. All right now, this is what I'm thinking here. Tampa Bay, after this Carolina game, has on tap the Falcons and the Broncos. Could be a little bit of a look-ahead game for the Tampa Bay Bucks. The over-under set right now at 48. That's a lot of points. I think Carolina's offense is reeling a little bit. Not too many fantasy points. I like a lot of Doug Martin. I like Jon Stewart to get a big workload this game.
He better.
Give him a big
I'm starting
workload.
him.
Are you?
Yeah.
And if that happens, I think Carolina can keep this game close and maybe, just maybe,
Snowball's
At the end.
chance.
field goal to win the game. So let's go Carolina outright win plus the 1.5, but under the 48. Let's go get a win, Panthers. Rawr. Next up, we're traveling to Dallas, Texas, where the Dallas Cowboys play host to the Cleveland Browns.
Turds.
Wow, the Cleveland Browns traveling to Dallas. Last week, Dallas through the air. Tony Romo, 19 for 26, 209 and 2 touchdowns. And Felix Jones on the ground, 16 for 71. Des Bryant, 3 receptions, 87 yards and a touchdown. But where Dallas really got it going against Philly, special teams touchdown, punt return, 2 defensive touchdowns against the Eagles, brought it home 38-23 against those Eagles. This week, Cleveland coming off the bye. Can Dallas continue? You know, Dallas is still in the playoff hunt, Addison. A win here and then a couple more divisional wins. They are right in the hunt. Can they get it done against the Cleveland Browns? Did you say something to me?
No, I didn't. No, I don't know.
Did you say something to me about phone call in the middle of the...
I thought I was on vibrate.
Let's go.
No, I actually
Get
think.
back to work.
I think actually Dallas. Everything's non-focused on football right now in Dallas. I don't like what's happening. You got the Mike Coleman rumors floating around down there. Getting rid of Garrett. I like Cleveland. Cleveland's got some stuff going right now. I mean, their passing game's halfway decent. Rushing game's not bad. They're actually rushing for more yards than the Cowboys are. I'm serious. I'm liking Cleveland in this matchup.
Addison, man, this is crazy that I'm saying this, but I love it. I agree. Dallas coming off the huge win. This is an automatic letdown game from them. Dallas never plays 2 games back-to-back in a row. good. Cleveland coming off the bye. Cleveland's defense is nice. Trent Richardson running the ball with authority for the Cleveland offense. I don't think there's too many fantasy points in this game. The over-under set right now at 43.5. I think it stays under, so not too many touchdowns. One thing I do want us to look for in this game fantasy-wise, look for Dez Bryant. Tony Romo and Dez kind of got on the right track last week. Look for Dez Bryant to put up some nice fantasy points if you've got him as your WR2 or maybe a flex, a great spot for him. Felix Jones also will lug the rock a lot this week. DeMarco Murray's still out, so I'm leaning. Let's go Cleveland plus the 7.5 to keep it close in a low-scoring game under the 43. Let's go Cleveland plus 7.5 under 43. Next up, Ad Rock, St. Louis. Them St. Louis Rams playing host to the New York Jets last week. Jets just lay another egg. Good gosh, 28-7. Sanchez, 9 for 22, a buck 24. They brought Tebow in a couple series.
They got nothing. Dude, they got nothing.
Gosh, this team stinks. Sean Green, 15 for 58, and Jeremy Curley, 5 for 57. We'll go travel to St. Louis, where St. Louis, in a really entertaining game, 24-24 tie against the 49ers last week. Sam Bradford throws the ball 39 times for 275 and 2 touchdowns.
Question.
Shoot.
Can you name right here for a six-pack?
Yes.
What was the last time in the NFL?
It was 2008. But I don't recall the teams, but I know it was 2008.
The teams, the
I
first
don't
six-pack. Come on.
I don't recall. The Dolphins and the Jets. Who was it?
Philly, Cincinnati.
Philly, Cincy. All right. There you go, guys. You only get that kind of data, and those stats here at
That's
the Fantasy
right. On
Formula.
some natural light.
Steven Jackson, 29 carries, a buck 01, and a touchdown. Steven Jackson looks like he's getting his feet under him after a very slow start fantasy-wise. He's starting to get some numbers. And Danny Armorall Amendola, 11 receptions, a buck 02. Would have had more. But in the overtime, he caught the 80-yard bomb, and they called it back for illegal procedure. Oh, Danny Armorall Amendola. Anyway, Ad Rock, here we go. St. Louis against the Jets. What's going to happen in St. Louis?
Oh, St. Louis is going to roll on this one. If you got anybody on St. Louis right now, pick them up. I do not like New York Jets at all right now. St. Louis Rams averaging 332 yards per contest. Their passing game is just going to dominate the Jets' secondary, and the rushing game, Steven Jackson, Darrell Richardson are going to put a smackdown on that front line for the New York Jets.
I concur. St. Louis, at the beginning of the season, when I started just doing a little investigating at the beginning of the season, they put some lines out before the season even starts. The Jets were a 7-point favorite against St. Louis at the beginning of the season. Now, Vegas has got the number set. St. Louis -3. They're a 3-point favorite against the Jets. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year, you know?
I don't know. 3 point. I don't know if I take that 3 points. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one. Who are you taking? What do you take?
I like St. Louis. In my opinion, St. Louis has got one of the top 10 secondaries in the league. The Jets have shown that they can't
secondary
run.
it's like they're like a bunch of linebackers back there with speed.
I agree. St. Louis, the Jets can't throw the ball. They're going to try to run. St. Louis is tough against the run too. I think the Jets might score 10 points. St. Louis gets a couple Sam Bradford touchdowns. I like St. Louis -3, but let's stay under the total, 38.5. A heavy dose of Steven Jackson too, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, buddy, this game. I'm excited about this one. An AFC divisional clash.
KC versus Cincinnati, right?
No, that's the toilet bowl this week. I'm talking Indianapolis Colts scratching for a playoff berth against the New England Patriots, Addison. So exciting, this game. Andrew Luck playing phenomenally. Tom Brady trying to hold the young quarterback, hold him back, and so they don't take their playoff spot. What's going to happen in New England this week? Indianapolis against the Pats.
Dude, I like the Colts, man. I hate to say it. I know it goes against all conventional wisdom how we've talked so far this year about what the Patriots offense can do. But right now, I like what's going on. The shaved heads in Indianapolis rallying around the coach. Andrew Luck putting up some huge numbers. The secondary is coming up big. I'm sorry. I think that Indianapolis at this time in the season can handle New England.
Outright win?
Outright win.
Wow. Last week for the Colts, Luck, 227, solid performance, ran for 2 scores, just incredible. Vic Ballard on the ground, 12 for 48. Reggie Wayne continues to get it done, 8 for 96.
Leading the league.
Reggie Wayne, leading the league in receptions, doing very well. Patriots last week beat the Bills. Hold on, 37-31 at home.
Exactly. Hold on.
Yeah, I know.
And that's why I think at this time, as the planets are aligned right now, and we had that celestial event. Hold up.
Celestial.
Is that,
That's
celestial? Was I get that one right? Okay.
Magic Hand says yes.
Celestial event. I mean, I think it's the Colts' time right now.
Hey, buddy. The stat of the week, as a home favorite of -9 or more, Tom Brady, because they're favored by 9.
Nine?
They're favored by 9 against the Colts.
Oh, I'm taking that one all day
As a
long.
home favorite of -9 or more, Tom Brady is only 7-19. With that being
Where
said,
did you get that stat?
Dude, I'm just brilliant. With that being said, I'm going with you, Ad Rock. Let's go Colts plus the 9, not in an outright win.
Call your bookie. Call him right now.
I can't predict
I'm
it.
mortgaging the house. I'm putting on the Colts.
I'm switching my bet. That if you're that confident in it, you know I'm going.
Because I just need you to clear out the basement if I lose. I'm moving in.
And over under 53. I like this game is going to stay under the total, but let's take the Colts plus the
Colts,
9.
that's right.
In
That's
an AFC divisional clash. Next up, buddy, we're traveling to Houston. The Houston Texans, coming off the big win against Chicago last week, play host to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last week for the Jags, Blaine Gabbert continues to be terrible.
Gabbert.
18 for 31, 209.
Blaine Gabbert.
Rashad Jennings gets
God, I hate that
27
name.
yards off the ground. And this Cecil Shorts, dude, he's still on 60% of waiver wires. 6 receptions for $105 and a touchdown. He's got a touchdown 3 of the last 4 games and gone over 100 yards 3 of the last 5. Y'all take a look for him on your waiver wire. Jacksonville travels to Houston. This could get ugly, and it could get ugly fast. Last week for the Texans, not many fantasy points, but their defense does the job. 13-6 against the Bears. Schaub throws a touchdown. Foster a $102 on the ground. Andre Johnson 4 receptions for 35 yards. Addison, right now, this is the biggest line of the week. Houston's a 16-point favorite at home. Over under 40.5. What goes down in Houston?
Actually, I generally like betting these. First off, when they have the huge lines, because generally, NFL, they're NFL teams. They can come back and cover. Not in this case.
Yes.
Jacksonville's averaging a measly 206 yards total offense compared to Houston's 350 yards total offense. This is going to be a
laugher.
Yeah, it's going to be a blowout. Yeah. Complete and utter blowout. Jacksonville, as I told before, with Jones Drew out, you got Rashad Jennings, second-year man, I think, out of I can't remember where he's out. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. He's not going to do diddly. J.C. Watt's got that defense anchored down. It's Houston, and Houston huge.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Houston, last 4 games against the Jacksonville Jaguars are 4-0. Look for a heavy dose of Arian Foster here. I can see him maybe running for about $150 with 2 touchdowns. Even look for Andre Johnson maybe to be started as you start him as your flex or wide receiver 2. I can see Schaub maybe throwing a bomb or 2 against a weak secondary for Jacksonville on the offensive front for Jacksonville fantasy-wise, bro. There ain't nothing going on.
Nothing.
I was thinking maybe a late flyer on Justin Blackman if the game gets into a shootout, but I can't even see that happening.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, what you said about Cecil Shorts is right. I mean, he's that for a receiver. I mean, he's got some decent numbers. He's got 561, 4 touches coming into the game. That's not bad. I mean, that's respectable in the league. But again, the Jacksonville secondary, they've been known to pick 6, and with a young quarterback by there, I think their pick 6 is definitely in this matchup.
And I agree, and that's the only reason I say Houston does cover the line. It'll be very close. They're favored by 16. Maybe they win by 17. The over/under right now is at 40.5. I can see maybe a pick 6 or something like that to take the number over the total.
I think it's going to be over the total.
Yeah, I'll lean over the total too. So let's go Houston minus the 16, over the 40.5. Next up, Addison's favorite game of the week, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Hooday, baby. Big win. Back in the playoff hunt, baby.
Against the Kansas City Chiefs. And yes, we did call that here an outright win. No, I called the Cincinnati. Did you think they were going to win last week?
Actually.
You had the Giants. I
actually called against it. And that's,
So I actually called it right against or for your team, and you went against them. The Cincinnati Bengals, huge win at home against
blew them out.
Super Bowl champion New York Giants. Andy Dalton. Big game, not yardage-wise, but
the red rifle.
Unbelievable. He's playing great. He's playing right now like a Pro Bowler. 15 carries for 50 yards for Green Ellis, and A.J. Green continues to be my number 1 fantasy wide receiver in the league. 7 receptions, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Could have had a couple more. I think some pass interference calls. If he would have brought him down, he would have had another maybe 75 yards total. They will be playing The Kansas City Chiefs, they have to travel to play KC. KC puts up a really good fight Monday Night Football against the Steelers, but lose 16-13. Matt Castle does nothing offensively, $154 and a couple costly turnovers in the end. Jamal Charles getting back on track, 23 for 100 and a touchdown. And Tony Moeaki, he's the tight end at KC, been very, very quiet early this season, starting to come on. Castle looking to him, 3 for 68. Ad-Rock, right now, Vegas got Cincinnati as a 3.5-point favorite. Who you like in KC, Cincinnati?
Oh, Who Dey, baby. Who Dey Nation's back. Sorry I jumped on the bandwagon last week, but, Super Bowl champs are in town. You have some hopes of that your team's, sorry. That's all I can say. I think the Who Dey Nation's going to roll in this one. Kansas City's kind of reeling right now. Jamal Charles is on a downslide. He hasn't really produced much in the last couple of weeks. The quarterback situation, I think Matt Castle's back. GQ boy Brady Quinn is out of the picture right now.
Questionable.
Yeah, he ain't playing. I like the passing game for Cincy in this matchup. I think they're going to destroy the secondary KC.
Well, I agree with you that they will destroy the secondary KC. A.J. Green, if you've got him, you got to start him. He will have a phenomenal day. I can even see Ben Jarvis getting some okay yardage on the ground against KC. But did you know, Addison, the Bengals are 8-26 against the spread as a favorite since 2007? 8-20.
Where do you get the? Is this
Guys,
uselessstat.com you pull this off of?
This is some very, very reputable stuff. This is the information you need to know. Right now, as I mentioned, Cincinnati, a 3.5-point favorite, over under 43.5. I like KC to keep this game close. I'm not going to say the outright win, but let's go plus the 3.5. Jamal Charles, a huge, huge day against this Cincinnati decimated defense, and I like Dwayne Bowe to catch a bunch of balls against the
He catches
the
garbage.
secondary.
He catches garbage.
Let's go. KC plus a 3.5 and over the total 43.5 in KC. Couple more to go, Ad-Rock. We rolling right through them. Here we go. New Orleans traveling to Oakland to play those Oakland Raiders, who just continue to struggle every which way. Last week, get blown out by the Ravens.
You didn't do it.
55 to what's that?
You didn't do it.
Oh, New Orleans. Only do New Orleans when they go to New Orleans, not when they travel. Okay. So, but thank you for pointing that out. As I mentioned, Raiders get blown out 55-20 against the Ravens. Carson Palmer continues to put up huge fantasy numbers, makes him a top 10 fantasy quarterback. But in reality football, the dude sucks. 368, 2 touchdowns. He throws too many picks, and he fumbles the ball. I mean, he has like 3 turnovers.
Yeah, he has to throw for almost 2,800 yards, as much as he's thrown for about 100 yards less than Drew Brees.
Yeah.
So, but
fantasy numbers galore.
Drew Brees does have 25 touchdowns, where Carson Palmer only has 15.
Yeah, big difference. On the ground for the Raiders with Darren McFadden out and Goodson out. Marcel Reese comes in, 13 carries, 48 yards, no touchdowns. Denarius Moore through the air, 4 for 90 and a touchdown. Denarius Moore is starting to be one of the top 10 wide receivers in the league. If you got him, you probably drafted him late. And if you held on because he was hurt early, he's really starting to pay dividends. This Oakland Raiders will play host to the New Orleans Saints. Last week, the Saints, huge win, 31-27 against the Falcons. Breeze does just what Breeze does, 298, 3 touchdowns. Chris Ivory, 7 for 72 and a touchdown in Darren Sproles' absence. Darren Sproles still out with a hand. Jimmy Graham. Would you see this dude?
Huge.
7 for 146 and 2 touchdowns. Addison, New Orleans got to travel now, coming off the big, big win. What goes down in Oakland, California?
I like what's going on in Oakland right now. I think since New Orleans' defense is kind of dismal, to say the least, I think with what the offense that Oakland is capable of putting up and what they got going on, I like Oakland in this matchup.
Ad-Rock, this is crazy because you think everybody's thinking right now, New Orleans on a roll, got to win to get to the playoffs, on a roll.
They're fluff wins.
I'm not going to say fluff, but everything you say about their defense is completely right. And what's the one thing that Oakland can do?
Pass.
They can score,
Pass and score,
New Orleans defense stinks out loud. So I think this game is going to be a shootout. Over-under right now, 54. Fantasy points galore. Start Denarius Moore. Start your Marcus Colston. Start your Drew Brees. Start your Carson Palmer. Start them all. This will be a shootout, and I think Oakland keeps this one close. Right now, minus 4.5 for the Saints. I'm going opposite. Plus 4.5 Raiders over the 54 and a shootout in Oakland. 2 more to go, Ad-Rock. Denver, San Diego could be a big, big game in Denver. Last week, San Diego puts up a great, great start against the Bucs, but goes down late, 34-24. Rivers, 337 and 3 touchdowns. Great fantasy numbers, but throws 2 picks late. Cost the Chargers another win. Ryan Matthews on the ground, 17 for 54. Your favorite running back, Ryan Matthews. And through the air, this dude's on every waiver wire. This is Denario Alexander, 5 receptions, $134 and a touchdown. Phillip Rivers is looking for him all day long. They will travel to Denver, where the Denver Broncos probably are the hottest team in NFL football right now. Peyton Manning, 301 and a touchdown. McGahee on the ground, 56. Demaryius Thomas, 9 for $135. Offense clicking, defense clicking. What happens when San Diego travels to the Mile High City, Ad Rock?
They get beat.
You think so?
Yeah. You want some more? San Diego sucks. Okay. Phillip Rivers could be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL partly because his pedigree where he went to school. But I really think Denver is going to stomp them. I mean, I don't really have another way to say it. San Diego is playing good, but they're going to run up against a good team, get frazzled, and the wheels on the bus are going to come falling off.
Check this out. Do you remember earlier this season when San Diego and Denver played that Monday night game, and San Diego got up like 24-0, and then Denver came back? And
here again, it's a mental thing with Phillip Rivers. He's a head case. He has been since his high school days, and why he got a scholarship to play at NC State shows how weak that school is. And then it's led into the NFL. So I don't. It's going to be a brain screw, so to speak, for Phillip Rivers.
All right, Addis, I'm going to give you another stat here. This is a very important stat. Right now, before I give you a stat, Vegas got Denver as a 7-point favorite at home, okay? 7-point favorite over under 48.
Taking that.
Did
taking
you know
that all
Norv Turner is 5-1? Norv Turner.
God, where do you get
San Diego's coach?
From?
Listen, Norv Turner is 5-1 against the spread in same season revenge games, meaning they lost earlier in the season to one of their divisional opponents. Norv Turner wins 5. He's won 5 out of the last 6.
He's got a little more pop marks on his face now. There's no way that that's going to happen.
You are horrendous. This is what the expert says. You aren't the expert. I'm the expert. San Diego will keep this one close. Mark my word. And I'm actually calling. No, I can't call the outright win. I'm saying they keep it close. Denver plus the 7, and let's go under.
What's total? What's total?
Under the 48.5.
I'll go under on that one.
All right, there we go. All right, guys, that's a good game. That's a 4 o'clock game. Or stay tuned to that one. All right, let's move into the 8:30 Sunday night beauty between the Baltimore Ravens and my Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, Ad Rock, this is a good one. And before the injuries happened, this would even be a better one. But you guys, we've all heard what happened to my man, Big Ben. He went out with a shoulder injury. He's out for this week.
Brian, I love sandwiches. Leftwich.
Leftwich has to replace him. Check this out, Addison. I did a little investigating on this game, too. The line with Ben as a starter was Pittsburgh minus 4.5. With Leftwich being announced the starter, Baltimore -1, a 5.5-point swing. That is huge in Las Vegas.
Basically, it's a pick 'em almost.
Exactly. And that's the Steelers' home, and that's huge because they're always a favorite at home. Last week for the Steelers, what did they do? They played Monday Night Football. You had Big Ben before his injury, 84 and a touchdown. Jonathan Dwyer seemed to get most of the carries, 19 for 56, because Isaac Redmond continues to fumble. He has his fumbling issues. And Heath Miller, 4 for 47. They will be playing host to the Ravens, as we said. And Ravens coming off the bye. Ad Rock, what you think?
I don't know. Honestly, guys, I'm sorry. I know you don't want to hear that from me. I know some of y'all do. Probably Ad, shut up. But I don't know. This one's a tough one because, I mean, you got your minus Big Ben. Baltimore, I wouldn't say is reeling, but Ray Rice has not been performing the last couple weeks like he normally does. Torrey Smith has stepped up, but the inconsistency in the offense with Baltimore and the lack of offense, I think, with Leftwich at the helm of Pittsburgh is leading me to here again, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I love your indecisiveness. I did make a mistake. The Ravens did play last week. They scored 55 points against the Raiders. Flacco, 341 and 3 touchdowns. But you're right about Rice. They only gave him the rock 13 times for 35 yards.
Well, they don't give him the rock. No, because the previous week before, he's done nothing. I mean, you saw, what's his name? His backup in there. Chad?
Yeah.
What's his name?
I can't recall his
Oh, you
I know what you mean.
Anyway, that's why I think they went to the game plan coming in against Oakland was throw. Yeah. And so since Flacco, is the best quarterback, air quotes here, I'm air quoting, best quarterback in NFL. I mean, they threw the ball and he actually put up some good numbers.
Yeah. Hey, man, I see Pittsburgh I'm a back against the wall kind of dude. They got to win this game. They got to protect their turf, especially if they want to win the division. They will squeak this one out, but it will not be a shootout by any means. If Pittsburgh wins, it's going to be a lot of running the ball and short passes against a Baltimore defense that has not played as well with the injuries. I really do like Pittsburgh plus the 1.5 under the 40. What is the total now, Addison? It's really dropped now with Roethlisberger. It's dropped to 41. It opened at 46, dropped to 41. Let's go under the total. Pittsburgh protects home field advantage and gets the win outright against the Ravens. Last but not least, we are going to our Monday night matchup, and wow, what a matchup it will be. Chicago Bears travel to San Francisco, where the Chicago Bears last week, they come off that tough loss to the Texans. Big news out of the game last week, Jay Cutler goes out with another concussion. All right,
He got concussed.
He got concussed, and boy, did he get concussed. Matt Forte on the ground, 16 for 39, and Brandon Marshall could be the number 2 fantasy wide receiver of the year.
The boy catches balls.
Oh, dude. Catches the ball, throw it to him, he's going to catch it. They travel to San Francisco, who they're dealing with. Their quarterback went out with a concussion. Last week, Addison, should we just call it the week of the quarterback concussions? 4 of them go out.
The week of the concussing
quarterbacks.
The concussing week.
Last week for the 49ers, Frank Gore on the ground, 97 and a touchdown. Michael Crabtree continues to impress, 5 for 70 and a touchdown.
Crabtree's, I would say this has been Crabtree's breakout year.
Yeah, he's played well.
So next year, let me ask this real quick. Next year, do you see Crabtree? I mean, he has become where he can throw up a 100-yard game almost. He's about almost every other week.
He averaged about 85 yards. Yep. I'd say
all right. So is he next year going to next year after this year? This has been a pretty good year.
Yeah.
6th round, 5th round?
Wide receiver 2, I'd say 4th or 5th round.
You think?
Yep. Because last year in our draft, he went in the 10th round. So I could see him moving up to 4th or 5th.
I'm always, I liked him at Texas Tech. He had some high expectations to come in. It's taken a while, but I've watched his progression. I kind of like the kid.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then check this out, This is my last stat of the day. Okay.
Thank God.
And what I put together are my kind of thoughts if. Depending on what quarterback starts, because right now we don't know who's going to start.
Deep Thoughts by Chad East.
Thank you. We don't know who's going to start in quarterback land for the Bears nor the 49ers.
Colin Kaepernick.
Let's say Cutler and Kaepernick start.
Cutler's not starting. Cutler's out.
Is he out for sure?
He's out.
I'm just throwing up some scenarios. San Francisco, I would think was a 3-point favorite playing at home. Let's say Cutler and Smith both started.
Okay.
I'd say 49ers are probably a 5-point favorite with both starters.
Really?
Okay. Let's say Jason Campbell and Kaepernick, that's both the backup quarterback start. I would make San Francisco a maybe 6.5-point favorite.
Really?
I like Kaepernick better than Campbell. I don't think Campbell's got
some experience. He's got a little more experience.
Yeah. Maybe so.
He's got some experience.
And if you had Campbell, who's backing up Cutler, who you said is going to start, against Alex Smith, who's still questionable to play, I think San Fran will be about a 7.5.
I read last night that Campbell started. But again,
I think he's going to start.
I think, but in NFL, we've seen, and what leaning on what Brandon Marshall was saying, if Cutler's able to play, he's going to play. They will give him every opportunity to play. He is the leader of that team. Yeah. So I think if you cut the head of the snake off, there's not much to the snake. Yeah, so I think I like what you're saying with Kaepernick because I think without Cutler, there is no Chicago Bears.
Just look what happened last week. They score 6 points. Cutler goes out, they score 6 points.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway, I guess you fantasy fanatics, you know where we're leaning here. It looks like San Fran is the play of the day here on this Monday night game. Right now, San Francisco, as we mentioned, without the quarterbacks officially being out, there's no official line, but let's put it at 5, over under 39. With that, I like San Francisco to win by a touchdown, but I'm going to go over the total. I think Kaepernick runs over the Chicago. Am I really saying they're going to run over the Chicago defense?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm throwing that one out.
After the Chicago defense put up what 25, 30 fantasy points like a week ago.
They're incredible.
And you're saying they're going to run over?
Yeah, that's why I'm throwing that one out the window. I don't even know what to do about the total, but I like San Francisco minus the 5. Addison, that wraps up Fantasy 45. Some great statistical information here by yours truly, and some really bad information from you. Way to go. Next up.
You have the most useless stats.
Oh, when they're a 5-point favorite, they're going to win 92% of the time. Who cares?
I think that's important stuff that our listeners need to know.
So wait, so you're saying, basically, are you having trouble there, Gimpy? You drop your pen? Oh, your knee hurt? Okay.
It stings.
Okay. So you're saying that the players are paying attention to the spreads?
No, I'm not saying the players. I'm saying the fantasy.
Okay, so the people that
Fantasy
actually
players.
have something to do with
Fantasy players. I'm saying fantasy players.
Okay.
Information is everything in this world, right?
Right.
The more information
But-
you have, the better you can make your decisions for your fantasy stars. If you bet on some football teams.
Chad.
Vegas,
All right,
that's what I'm talking
Chad, we all know you wear women's underwear. That is useless information. So just like you said, there is information, everything, but there is some information that is
your
absolutely
wife's,
useless.
Your wife's underwear. Boom, boom, boom.
That's all you got. That's all you can come back with.
Hey, with that said, let's take a quick break from our sponsor. Thank you.
Main Cellar City Club, Hickory's premier music venue, is the place to go for music events, wedding dinners or receptions, company retreats, reunions, and more. Contact Main Cellar at 828-345-6246 or find us on Facebook and Twitter for all your entertainment updates.
And we're back. Thank you to our wonderful sponsor this week. Thank you for sponsoring the Fantasy Formula. Ad Rock, we're going to go right into our next segment. It is our breaking news. Breaking news. Injury report. Thank you for those sound effects.
Where's my sound? How have we broke out one sound effect so far?
Come on, what's wrong with you? Dude, this injury report is longer than the Dead Sea Scrolls, Ad Rock, and I am not lying.
Now look, hold on a minute. I have seen the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Are they long?
And have you ever really seen them?
No, I've never
this
seen
whole conversation itself. Have you? It's stupid. I mean, they'd fill up this room.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there are a lot of them.
So my analogy of a long injury report compared to the Dead Sea Scrolls is right on target. Is that what you're saying?
Spot on, man.
Perfect.
Spot on.
So let's jump right into it. Here we go. Breaking news. Obviously, we heard Ben Roethlisberger out. Guys, he's got a separated shoulder or a sprained shoulder, could be out this week. Could lead anywhere up to about 3 weeks.
So the
Keep your
Steelers
eyes.
quarterback is hurt, right?
Trouble. That is not nice, Addison. Also, we discussed Jay Cutler out with a concussion. Doubtful to play. Keep your eye on this one. Michael Vick out. This one could be serious, guys. This might be the last time we
Serious.
see.
It's serious.
It's serious. It might be the last time we see Michael Vick in a Philadelphia Eagle uniform, and that is no joke. They're calling this
Man, it could be
concussion.
uniform, period.
Yeah, he might never play again.
Yeah.
You might be right. This is very sad. Michael Vick, fantasy owners, it's tough.
Those are Eagle fans right there.
Very upset. And as we mentioned, the other big quarterback news, Alex Smith, San Fran, he got a concussion as well. He is questionable for Sunday's game. His concussion was mild compared to the other ones, but guys, with all these new rules in NFL football, they don't let a player play if he's got a concussion symptoms. That does it for the quarterbacks. Now I'm gonna fly through the rest. Julio Jones for the Falcons, wide receiver, had to leave the game last week with a shin injury. Questionable this week. I think he will play.
He's got shin splints.
Fred Jackson for the Bills, out with a concussion. The dude, he's a warrior. The dude plays, but again, if he's got concussion symptoms, they will not let him play. Right now, he's listed as questionable by the Bills injury report. DeMarco Murray, Cowboys running back, out. MJD, Jacksonville running back, out. Willis McGahee left the game in Carolina last weekend, but he is listed as probable. He did have 2 fumbles late, so if Ronnie Hillman is on your waiver wires, guys, McGahee, one more fumble, he might get the hook, and Hillman might take his place. Owen Daniels, tight end, Houston, questionable. I know he's a starter for many of you guys in fantasy land. Questionable this week. Big news out of Minnesota. They were hoping Percy Harvin would only be out 1 week. He is out another week. That's 2 weeks. Might not be back for 2 more. Aaron Hernandez, all-world tight end for the Patriots, questionable this week. Had to sit out last week with the ankle. It's not responded as well as they like, so he is questionable. And the big running back out of New Orleans, Darren Sproles, broken hand. Questionable again. This will be 3 weeks in a row if he doesn't play. Guys, that's our injury report. That's our breaking news. Ad Rock, hit us with waiver wire.
All right, just a few for the waiver wire this week, ladies and gentlemen. I know they're coming up on the last weeks of buys for people. Start with the quarterback situation. 2 good ones I like this week with their matchups. Out of St. Louis, Sam Bradford. I like what he's doing with Danny Amendola. Sam Bradford's going to have a big game against the New York Jets secondary. Next quarterback, which I like, he shows some potential when he's in there. Coming out of Philly, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Foles. I like the kid. I think he's going to do good things while he's going to be replacing Vic for the next couple weeks, at least 2 or 3 weeks. So potential star there. And you know what? Philly's got a good core receivers. So I think everything's things are possible. Second one, coming out of Washington, the receiver Hankerson. I like Hankerson. Leonard Hankerson's looking good right now. I like him. RG3's been throwing the ball around. I think he's going to get some good looks this week. Last one I got, Josh Gordon, wide receiver out of Cleveland. The boys have been up some decent numbers. Now, like I said, these are some bye week options. There's a handful. Everybody's waiver wire is going to be sporadic, to say the least. But with everybody getting back to their regular schedules, if you draft well and you haven't had the injury bug, you're not going to need the waiver wire. These are just a few little tidbits there for you. Get some extra fantasy points.
Right on. Yeah, big week. Playoffs in 2 weeks, guys. Yes, that is right. Playoffs start in most fantasy leagues in 2 weeks. Following this week, 2 more weeks before fantasy starts. So these are big, very important games before the fantasy playoffs start. And with that, Ad-Rock, we're going to jump right into our Lone Rider Brewery question of the week. And we're going to pose this as a to-trade or not to-trade segment for our Lone Rider question of the week, all right? The first one, this one comes from my man Tucker. He's a... Dude, he might win. He won every dang Lone Rider question of the week because he always sends these questions in. All right, check it out. He has Antonio Gates and Brandon Lloyd.
Bum.
Gates has been playing really good. Lloyd kind of off.
Right.
Should he trade those two for Brandon Marshall? Now with Cutler out,
Ooh.
do you think Brandon Marshall,
God, the dynamics of fantasy football I just love.
with Cutler out, now you got Jason Campbell, so Brandon Marshall from your number one wide receiver. Now is he a number two? Does he fall into a flex spot? You're getting Gates and Lloyd for B. Marsh. Who has the better end of that trade? Or should you just not do it?
I never liked 2 for 1. I'm never a big fan of 2 for 1.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I'm gonna say I think Jason Campbell could throw the ball. He threw the ball in Washington. He's capable of throwing the ball. I'm gonna say make the trade. At this point of the season, Antonio Gates has done nothing. If you combine the stats for both those two players, Brandon Lloyd's got almost 900 yards receiving. He's only got 5 touchdowns, I think.
I'm with you.
But I like the stats that Marshall can put up over those two.
I'm with you, Addison. Jason Campbell is going to be looking for somebody to throw the ball to, and Brandon Marshall will be that guy. So, absolutely, the Brandon Marshall is the better end of that trade, hands down. I am with you. Next up, this comes from my boy Mike in Raleighwood. He asked, Ahmad Bradshaw is on a bye this week, but I have been offered Andre Johnson for Ahmad Bradshaw. Would you make the call? Would you make the trade? Ahmad Bradshaw is off this week, so you get Andre Johnson another week, but I guess what he's saying
Against Jacksonville?
when Ahmad comes back, this is worth the trade.
Yeah, I think it is. I like what's going on in Houston. Ahmad Bradshaw is good, but I mean Brown's back. I'd make that trade. I like Andre Johnson next couple of weeks.
I'm with you too, man. Ahmad is starting to lose some carries. Andre Brown is starting to get some carries. Andre Johnson in this offense is their go-to person. So make that trade, Mike in Raleighwood. There you go.
That's great.
And last but not least, this comes from Jim in Jacksonville. This is a good one, Ad-Rock. Chris Johnson is on a bye this week for Tennessee.
Scrub.
He is 5-5. He's got to have a win this week. Someone has offered him Reggie Bush for Chris Johnson. And granted, Chris Johnson, has having a much better fantasy year than Reggie Bush. However, Chris Johnson is off. This guy's got to get some performance out of that running back one spot. Would you make the trade? Really, it's a 1 week trade, and you're giving up Chris Johnson. But would you do it to have a chance to make the playoffs? Remember, the Dolphins play the Bills, whose defense stinks.
You know what? As much as I hate Chris Johnson, there's more upside to him than downside right now. No, I would not make that trade. Even though I'm kind of
got to win this week.
I know. Screw it. Go ahead and make it.
Oh, so we went from no heck.
Go ahead and make it. Though. If you need the win, look, the matchups leaning. Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not going to say pull the trigger on that one, but you got.
That was a tough one.
You're 5-5. You got to win this week, guys.
So you worry about this week, and then you have to worry about next week.
There you go. I agree. So there's our Lone Rider segment of the week. It's the to trade or not to trade segment. Lone Rider Brewery, the ale for outlaws. It's a great beer. Try it at all your local pubs and establishments, or go grab it at your grocery stores. It is some wonderful, wonderful alcoholic beverages. And with that, Ad-Rock, man.
You mean beer?
Beer, yeah, let's say beer. Beer, get easier.
Yeah.
With that, let's take a second to thank our other sponsor, the Main Cellar City Club, located in the beautiful downtown Hickory area. Man, it's your event and concert venue of Western North Carolina. Great acts as Little River Band, as we always mention. You've got Rehab, you got Bubba Sparks playing. Anyway, they're all coming out of the woodworks to come play at the Main Cellar City Club. Also book all your anniversary events, your birthday events, and your graduation parties.
You and Jennifer booked your swinger party there, didn't you?
Oh, what? I think that was your girl. Anyway, check it out. MainCellarCityClub.com for the list and lineup of all the events, or you can check it out at check us out at www.themesh.tv. Hit us up 828-619-0048 on the voicemail line, or email us info@themesh.tv. Addison, are we still climbing up the ratings boards?
Look, I think we're around the 6,500 download mark for the year, which is fantastic.
That's wonderful.
I mean, again, we're just blowing it up here in the bomb shelter of the Jackson Group, and I want to say I love you, man. I pick on you, but I love you. I mean, even though I didn't get invited to you and Jennifer's swinger party, that's fun. But anyway, no, it's we're climbing up the charts, and again, download us, click on us, rate us. We need those ratings so we can be back next year for y'all.
Absolutely. And Addison, again, as we mentioned, this is fantasy playoffs is right in front of us, all right? This is it, guys. So rally the troops, get everybody locked and loaded.
As Ronald Reagan said, the time is now.
Boom, you heard it here. We can't wait to talk to you next week. Ad Rock.
Who day, baby?
Peace.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.